Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to another video. For today's scent, I just finished up my little bottle of Cartier perfume, and I'm not going to talk too much about this right now because we're going to dig deep into that a little bit later. If you're new to my channel, well then welcome. My name's Melissa and I love every single thing having to do with the world of beauty. And you can find me pretty much every single day putting on a full face of makeup, so that's exactly what we're going to talk about in today's video. I consider myself to be a pretty avid makeup collector. So I do have a pretty extensive makeup collection, but the primary thing about having such a large collection is you really don't get the opportunity to get to know every single one of your products the way I would feel comfortable doing so. So a little while back, I had this idea to take one product from each category in order to configure a whole face of makeup, and I would use that set routine of products every single day for a month. That way I'd really get to know each individual product and figure out if it really worked for me or if it was just crap. So for today's video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you each part of the routine that I came up with. I'm going to apply each piece of makeup to my face and then tell you what I liked or what I didn't like about it. And then I'm going to tell you at the end if I'm going to keep the piece or if I'm going to declutter it. So it's kind of a medley video. It's a mixture of a speed reviews video with a try-on video with a declutter video. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay guys, so I have my entire monthly makeup routine spread out in front of me. I'm going to do each product step by step and show you exactly what it is and what I think about it. So before I get to applying it, I did want to say I started this routine on 26th April, and today is going to be my last day with this specific grouping of products. So I'm going to go on and choose some more probably tomorrow morning. And all I have on my face right now is a little bit of skincare, and then I have some lip plumper on my lips. But other than that, my entire face is completely makeup free and I'm ready to get started. So the first product I used in my routine was this primer right here, and this is from Veil Cosmetics, and it's called the Sunset Light Primer Serum Mixing Base. And this primer has pretty unique packaging. You twist it to open and twist to close. And before I use this, I'm going to go ahead and take off my rings because I don't like any lotion type of stuff getting inside my rings. And the best way I found to use this is I put 3 pumps into my hand, and then I kind of mix it between both hands, and then I gently patted it onto my face. Now this primer gives you a nice cooling sensation, and it gives you a very, very smooth feeling to your skin, and it doesn't feel like there's any silicones in it at all, so you don't get that really slippy feel that you do in a lot of primers. But what I like about this one is that it gives you that really luminous glow without having any apparent shimmers or glitters in the formula. So the next product is from Sample Beauty, and it's an eye base. And you get a ton of product in here, and a little bit goes a super long way. Now it kind of does smell like baby powder, so that's kind of a turn off for me, but when it's on your eye, you really can't smell that. So when I first got this, I really liked it. But then the more I started using it, the more I started hating it. So I started applying it with a brush, and I really liked the way that it covered all the discoloration on my eyelid. But the more I used it, the more I realized that this creased like a mofo. I was also having a lot of problems with shadows not being able to blend on top of this as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye, and then we'll come back and check on this one and see if we see any apparent creasing yet. Okay, so I'm kind of looking up close as I can, and if you look closely, you can see just how it creases and how patchy it applies. And I need something more consistent for an eye primer because I really rely on an eye primer because of my eye shape, and that just didn't do it for me. Anyway, I think that product's been long discontinued, so good for that. This isn't the normal progress of my makeup routine, but because of the type of product this is the one we're going in with next. We're going to be using this iconic brow silk, and the first thing I want to mention is this package is almost impossible to open. Now here's what it looks like on the inside. You have a nice mirror, and here's your brow wax right there, and you can actually use this wet or dry, and I didn't personally prefer any method over the other. So just to show you how it works wet, I'm going to go ahead and spray this with some water, and it does come with this little toothbrush looking applicator. So I'm just going to take that, rub it inside this little wax, and then I'm going to apply this to my eyebrows. Now I'm going to tell you right off the bat that this is a really messy product, so if you accidentally applied your foundation prior to applying this, this will destroy your foundation all around your eyebrows. The second thing I don't like about this is that it does not hold your brows whatsoever. So once you spend a lot of time styling them into the style that you want them to be, they fall. So I was kind of like, well, maybe I'm just not using it right. Maybe it's just a brow texturing product. So then I went ahead and brushed my brows backwards and enhanced the texture with my brows, and they still fell, didn't hold the style. There's literally no use for this product whatsoever except destroying your makeup. And I know this is practically the pioneer of these types of brow products, but I could not get this to work for me over the month-long time that I've been using this. Every time I went in to use this, all different types of ways, I've been thoroughly disappointed with it. And I have a ton of other brow products that work way better than this. See, by the time I'm done with this brow already fell. No matter how much wax I put into it, it doesn't matter. And then I use the back of this to try to press them to my skin to see if that would work. And they just kind of pop up, and it just doesn't hold a style whatsoever. So while we let the brow silk dry, I'm going to go in with my little foundation product. And this is a K-Beauty product, and it's by the brand called VT Cosmetics. Now, I got this on BoxyCharm pop-up, and it was under the skincare section. So originally I thought this was a skincare product, and it does come with a little applicator, but I don't use that. I use this with a fluffy brush. It's kind of like a cushion packaging. So you open the little door, and then you uncover pretty much a cream foundation. So before we get into this, I'm going to say they have literally 2 shades of this. Much like all K-Beauty foundations, there is no shade range to this, and this one barely works on me. So the best way I found to apply this is that the lighter you go, the better it works. You can build up to full coverage with this, but it ends up looking really heavy and cakey. So what I do is I just tip my brush in here just a few times, and then I just stamp it onto my face just like that. And I do my whole face like that before I blend it in. And now you can see how I just dabbed it all over, nothing special. I just take that same brush I was using and just fluff it around my face. And I do get a very light coverage with this, but it makes my skin look so perfected. And the good thing is that it truly does have skincare ingredients inside of it too. So as you wear this on your face the whole day, you're getting the benefits of all of its skincare ingredients. So you can practically see through to every scar, bump, redness on my face, but I just love the way it evens out my skin. But I have absolutely been loving the way it looks, and it's perfect for an everyday thing. I've tried using a sponge with it, and I didn't like the way a sponge applied it because a sponge just made it look way too heavy. I really love the way a fluffy brush applies it because you can just dab it and really control the amount that you apply. For our next product, we're gonna go into a concealer, and boy, do I have some stuff to talk about with this one. This is from the Creme Shop, and this is called the Cover Story Full Coverage Concealer. So where do you put a concealer? Under your eyes, right? Well, that's what I thought. So I applied this to my under eye area like I normally do, and it irritated my eyes so badly that my eyes watered like never before. It turned them red. There is something in here that does not agree with my eyes. But this is truly a full coverage concealer, so I wanted to see if I can make it work in other ways before I just lost interest in it. So I did find some other ways to make it work. The first thing I did with it is I applied it down here to both sides. And then I applied it to any spots that I could see through that little foundation cream that I put on. And now the thing with this concealer is you want to wait. You want to let it dry a little bit. It works so much better if you give it some time to sit. So I'm going to take my concealer brush and blend out this little under eye part, not taking it close to my eyes whatsoever. Just on these little dark bags right here. And then I'm going to take a very dome stiff brush and I'm applying it directly to the spot, and then I'm going to swirl it. You know what else I've been using that concealer for? I've actually been using it as a full coverage foundation. I would just put a few X's on my face with the doe foot, and it blends out beautifully, and it wears so well all day long. So it's truly such a good product. It's just something with the ingredients and my eyes just don't get along. So naturally, our next step is to powder the face. I'm a person who loves powdering my face. I've always done it, and I just personally think it makes my makeup last all day long, and I love it. So the powder that I chose for this monthly routine is by OPV Beauty, and I recently just got this in some type of subscription box, and I really wanted to test out the formula more in depth. And I will say this is quite a messy powder. This powder is very soft, but it's not incredibly finely milled, so I wouldn't just go ahead and throw my brush in there. I would kind of pour some into the cap and use it that way. So I'm just going to use about this much, and the best way I found to use this powder is with the biggest, fluffiest brush you can find. So I really like to use a small brush and kind of stipple my powder in, but when I've been using this powder in the same way that I apply some of my favorite powders, it's been soaking into all of my fine lines, into my little eye wrinkles. I can see it clogging up my pores, and it just gives me a big white cast. So I wasn't a fan of that. But when I do apply it with the fluffy brush and just dot it around very gently, I guess the key to this powder is less is more. And with this powder, you never want to swirl. You want to just tap it. So in all actuality, although I can make this powder work, I like things to work in my favor, and I don't like to baby products, so I'm just gonna pass this on. So I guess we're just gonna continue on with face. We can either go face or eyes or finish a brows, but I'm just gonna go with face. So for this month, I picked this little bronzer duo by Moira Cosmetics. And here's what it looks like inside. It's got one matte side, one shimmery side, but when you apply this, it just looks like a very lightly luminous bronzer. You don't see any glitter chunks. It's not excessively glittery or anything. I actually really love the way this looks on my skin. So I put a lot on my brush. Like, I really dig it in there and get both sides onto my brush. And then I just lightly apply it to all points I put my bronzer. And then I know this looks really harsh. It's a really warm tone bronzer, but I go ahead and I blend my bronzer out always, because I do not like harsh lines on my face. So our next stop is blush, and I got this blush in an Ipsy bag, and I have loved it every single day that I've been wearing it. This brush is by a brand called V Cosmetic, and let me tell you, this is probably the most pigmented blush I have in my entire collection. Here's the color. It is perfect for the season. And if you ask me, it's perfect for any season. I'd wear this all year long because it's just one of my favorite blush colors there is. So now when I first got this, I made the mistake of doing what I usually do, digging my brush in, and I just couldn't rectify what happened to my face. So now what I do is I just take my blush brush and dip it in ever so lightly, tap off the excess, and then I apply my blush very, very lightly. And then once it's all kind of on my cheek, then I spread it out. But I love this blush because the pigment lasts all day long. It doesn't show any signs of wear, even when I'm having like a 12-hour makeup day. It just stays put. And this color is really a neutral pink, so it looks good with any other makeup that you're wearing. I've just had great success with this, and I'm interested to see what other products that this company makes. So I just want to tell you really quick, as I look in the camera, blush always appears way more severe in camera than it does in person. So the way that you're seeing it right now, it doesn't look that way to me. It looks way more natural. But if you ask me, I like the way it looks in camera too. So as for highlight, I accidentally forgot to pick one for the entire monthly routine. So at the last minute, about last week, I just threw this Laura Geller Gilded Honey highlight in there. And I really haven't been using this long enough to form a really knowledgeable review on it. So I'm gonna skip this for the time being. But I did just want you to know that that's what I've been using for about the last week or so. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and finish up my brows, and for that I'm gonna use this brow pencil by Cella Beauty. Now Cella Beauty has beautiful makeup products. Every single thing that I found from that brand has worked amazingly. And this brow pencil is probably my favorite brow pencil in my entire collection. So if you look closely, I did put a lot of wax in my eyebrows earlier, and they're completely fallen now, like I put nothing in, but they still feel very waxy and wet. So I'm just mad at that product and I don't like it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my pencil and underline my eyebrow. And then I'm gonna fill in some sparse spots with this. So even though my entire eyebrow surface was full of wax, kind of wet feeling, this brow pencil just goes right over it like a trooper. I've had no issues whatsoever with this, and I've tried plenty of different brow looks over the month, and this has always worked so well. So now guys, we're ready to move on to the eyes. And for the eyes, guys, I have this trusty Makeup Revolution palette. And these palettes are so cheap, but let me tell you, I am still not bored with this one. I've created so many different looks with this, and it is such a beautiful formula, and everything's worked out so well. Let me show you what the inside looks like so you can see it a little better. So here's all the colors you get. There are only 3 mattes in here, and the rest are shimmers. But the shimmers apply like foiled metallic shades, and the mattes all blend together, so you can do some pretty gradient blending with this. Just by using this one palette, I want to go buy more of them in this line because I've really loved this one so much. So let me tell you the one bad thing about this palette. Do you see this little black frame around the front? Well, essentially it's really saturated black ink. And since I've been using this palette so much, it got really sticky. And now every time I use it, it rubs off onto my fingers and makes a complete mess. So I'm gonna have to see if I could take some kind of chemical or something, maybe goof off, and see if I could rub that off, because that's really aggravating to get all over my hands when I'm trying to not get dirty. Okay, so for the sake of time, I'm gonna do a really easy eye look. I'm gonna do a matte in the crease and a shimmer on the lid. So to kind of match the energy of my shirt, I'm gonna go with this little mauve color right here in my crease. You guys, these shades blend out so easily too. It takes absolutely no effort to use this palette. If you've ever come across these in the store and you've wondered what the quality was like, the quality is definitely there. Makeup Revolution can be really hit or miss for me, but these are definitely a hit. I'm taking that same mauve shade and I'm putting it on my under eye as well. I just want to match the same tone as I do have on my top lid. And as far as the metallic, I'm going to take this really pretty metallic right here, and I'm going to put this all over the entire mobile lid. These shades work perfectly on a brush, and you do not have to get them wet either. Okay, so that was that palette. Totally excited about this still. Love it. Glad I have it in my collection. Next, I'm going to take what I've been using for my inner corner highlight and my brow bone. And I've used this for other things as well. And this is from Nude Sticks, and it's in the shade Doo Wop. And it is called their Magnetic Luminous Eye Color. So basically, it's just one of those really chubby pencils. But this is the perfect color for inner corner highlighting. I also like to put this onto my brow bone. I've used this pencil as a cream highlighter before and it worked for that. I've used this pencil on my eyes as an eyeshadow and it worked for that too. I've also used this pencil as a lip topper to have kind of like a metallic sheen to my lips, and it worked for that too. So this is definitely a multi-purpose pencil, and I really like the brand Nude Sticks. So this has really came in handy for anything that I've needed it for this month. I don't really have much to say about it because it's such a simple tool, but hell yeah, this works well. Okay, for the waterline, I have one of these raved and hyped Makeup Obsession eye pencils. I got mine in the shade called Extra, and it's kind of like a shimmery green. Let me swatch it for you. So here's the shade right here. It's kind of a shimmery green. If I move it, you can see how it changes colors a little bit. But I've used this pencil in so many ways too. I've used it on my top lash line. I've used it to tight line. I've used it on my waterline. I've used it as a lower lash line smoke out shadow. I've even used this on my lips as a lip color. But today we're gonna use it as our waterline. Okay, so my thoughts on this is that I honestly don't see the hype. If I put this in my waterline, I get maybe an hour wear out of it before it just disappears. It's not a great pencil for the waterline. There is no staying power whatsoever. The good thing about it is its price and its color. This is the only color of this type that I have in my entire collection. So I'm gonna keep it just for that reason, because if I ever need a pencil in this particular color, I have one and I don't have to go out and search for one. And I can also use this in a multitude of ways. But the purpose that I bought it for was the waterline, and it does not work well in that capacity. Next, we're getting to something really good. The mascara of the month is from Item Beauty, and this is called the Lash Snack Lengthening Mascara. Now get a good look at this wand. Look how tiny it is. And because it's so tiny, I'm able to get every single lash on my entire lash line. This inner corner, I always have trouble reaching with the standard wand, and I can get every single tiny lash that's right in there. And I don't make a big mess with this mascara or nothing. It's so easy to use, and I find it very easy to wash off at the end of the night. The only problem with it is it's not like a very bold mascara, so I really have to do about 3 or 4 coats to get it to the dramatic level that I really like to see my mascaras at. But it gives me some real definition. I get the curl, the volume, everything that I look for in a mascara. This gives it to me. So this is definitely something I would repurchase when it runs out. And it's really good for the lower lashes too. Now for lips, I picked out a lip balm because I figured I could keep this on my little chair, so whenever I'm sitting down just scrolling through my phone, my lips feel dry, I'll throw this on. And that's exactly what I did. Now, I know a lot of people initially when we received this in some subscription box thought it was way too thick and it was a problem getting out, but I've never had that problem. This is very easy for me to use. But the only thing that I think is wrong with it is that this gets really nasty around the top, so every time I use it, I really have to wipe it off so it doesn't get all clogged up in the cap. But I just push out about that amount, and that's good enough for both lips for me. And it's so smooth, it's so thick feeling and nourishing. It's got one of my favorite flavors to it. It's kind of like a peppermint and vanilla. It smells so good. It just relaxes my mind whenever I smell it. It doesn't have an awful aftertaste or anything. And my favorite thing is that it lasts on my lips hours and hours and hours. So I've already burned through about half of this tube. As you can see, it's already gone, and I would definitely repurchase this. And now the last thing of my routine is my fragrance of the month. And in the initial part of this video, I told you it was the Cartier, and this is called Eau de Cartier. As you can tell, it's gone. I used it all. And the thing with me is when I smell a fragrance, I can instantly tell if I love it or if I hate it. There's also a subgroup of fragrances that I kind of like, but they have to grow on me. As soon as I smelled this, I fell in love. This is so good. It makes me feel so free-spirited, so composed, so confident. It's a really fresh fragrance, and I'll go ahead and I'll link all the corresponding information for it in the description box, so if you're curious about it. Now, there's 2 cons about this. The first con is that this is a toilette spray. So this doesn't last as long as a traditional parfum. And the other con is that I believe this is one of Cartier's first fragrances that they ever made. So it's kind of difficult to find. But I tell you what, I am going to find this. I'm going to track it down. This has been my signature scent over this last month, and I have loved every second of it. And I really want to add this to my fragrance collection. So guys, we have our full face of makeup done here now. We talked about all the products. We went through the good, the bad, and the ugly. I want to hear from you in the comments below. Did you like this kind of video? Because I would love to integrate this every single month at the end of the month when I'm done using a routine to let you know how it fared for me. This was a lot of fun for me, and I get excited about everything makeup, so I would definitely love to hear from you. But anyway, that is all I have for you today. So if you liked this video, please give me a giant thumbs up, and if you didn't like this video, hit the thumbs down. And until next time, bye!